welcome back to Suubi Zero. Welcome if it is your first time watching. You have to ignore the fact that I've been wearing the same jumper for 3 days. This is a comfortable jumper. Anyway, I'm making bacon and egg sandwiches right now and they look so good, so I'm just going to show you guys. This is 10 days one. Oh, look at that bacon. Oh, crispy bacon. And I'm cooking the eggs right now. Very excited to have mine as well. So later on today, as you guys have seen by the title, I want to talk about the history of Halloween. Because obviously today is Halloween, and I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram story. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but you can. Here's my @ I put on my story post, like a Twitter thread that someone had made on just the history of Halloween, and it really interested me. So I was like, let me do some research, find out a bit more, and let you guys know. And maybe if you want to talk about it, you can comment down below. We could just chat things through, see what you guys know, because there's a lot about this holiday that I've never really known and I've never really understood. So why not find out today? I tried to write TSK on it and I want to see Tender's reaction.
Jeez, come on.
Do you notice it?
It's TSK.
So growing up, we never really did celebrate Halloween. I think in my life, I've celebrated Halloween twice. Both times were at uni. And that was mostly just because I wanted to dress up and go out. But yeah, no, that post, it really interested me. And now basically I thought I'd just bring you guys into a deep dive of what actually the story of Halloween is, why it's a thing, what happens. And I mean, obviously all my sources are just the internet, so don't trust everything you read on the internet, but why not? Could be interesting stuff. I kind of just want to read through the thread. You guys are seeing so much of my room these days. Anyway, yeah, I want to read through the thread, and basically, so in case you haven't seen it, this is what it says. So a girl on Twitter, she posts, should Christians celebrate Halloween? A thread. And she starts. So, the history of Halloween. Halloween can be summarized as Satan's birthday. It's been regarded as the holiest of days to the occult. It originated from the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. You'll have to forgive my pronunciations. I don't really know how to read most of these words. Druids would sacrifice children to appease their gods of death. They would use the fat from the child to make candles to place inside of gourds. So that's like the origin of jack-o'-lanterns. And then set them on the front of their porches as a blessing. If you didn't offer the gods of death your child's sacrificed gourd, you would be cursed. That's the apparent origin of trick-or-treat. To protect yourself from the spirits of death, you would dress up as one of them to disguise yourself. And that's the origin of costumes. When the spirits come to your door, you'd have to give them an offering, which is the origin of candy, to stop them from haunting your home. It's all very creepy and morbid and horrible. The history of Halloween is ripe with rampant demonic paganism and extreme dark rituals. Every aspect of Halloween is in the remembrance of what was. That was by Matthew. There's no last name, but he was an ex-witch, apparently. I'm glad that Christians allow their children to worship the devil at least one night of the year, is a quote by Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan. And then, so in the end of the thread, she put these Bible quotes. So there's one from 1 Thessalonians 5:22, which says, abstain from all appearance of evil. There's one from Ephesians 5 verse 11, which says, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. And then there's another one from James 4 verse 17 that says, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. And there's one from 2 Corinthians 6 verse 17 that says, therefore go out in their midst and be separate from them, says the Lord, and touch no unclean thing, then I will come to you. I don't know, it's just really interesting because, again, as I said, I've never really learnt anything about what, like, the origin of Halloween was or why it is a thing and what it actually means to celebrate it. So, after reading her thing, I went onto the internet, as you do, because it's so reliable, and I typed in the history of Halloween. In typing that in, they gave a lot of stories. Some people were just talking nonsense, as it would be. And then a lot of the time, actually, there would still be stories that were similar to what this girl has just shared. But not many of them would say the whole children aspect of it all. They'd kind of just be like, oh, it's a day where they pay tribute to the god of death and stuff like that. So I'm still yet to find another source that says the thing about the children, because, I mean, that is particularly morbid. So I'm on this site called history.com, which I guess must be quite reliable if it's just a whole site just for history. And this is what they have said. They said Halloween is a holiday celebrated each year on October 31st, as we all know. And the tradition originated with the ancient Celtic festival, which is what she said, of Samhain. Again, I'm sorry with the pronunciation. When people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off ghosts. So even on history.com, they've summarized it but left out all the dark aspects that this girl has said are allegedly true. So that's only in the first like summary paragraph. Let's go deeper. So history.com explains that basically, so the Celts, or Celts again, I think it's Celts. I'm gonna go with Celts. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but anyway. The Celts lived 2,000 years ago, and basically the reason why they marked the 31st of October as the end of summer was because around this time of year, as everyone has probably seen, it starts to get darker, like a lot more. And so by the 1st of November, that was like the first day of winter. And basically there was a belief in like the Celtic culture that the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. And so that's why this whole thing of like you need to protect your houses from the spirits and do all these different rituals came about. And so on the night of the 31st, they celebrated Samhain, when it was believed that ghosts of the dead returned to the earth. I'm sure there's already a lot of people being creeped out. I guess now I'm telling a scary story. But even in terms of that, you can already see that it's just a very dark day. Like, it's all very much centered around death, and I mean, nothing really happy is there. But I think it's very interesting because I've checked this history.com site and then just a few other sites, and like, yeah, literally none of them are saying anything about the whole burning of the children thing. And to an extent, it's like my mind is kind of split two ways right now. I'm kind of like on one half, it could just be that the girl that tweeted was misinformed and was told something that is partly true but not completely true. Or it could be that like all of these sites are still trying to kind of romanticize the actual events that happened back like 2,000 years ago in the times of the Celts, where it actually was that they were killing all these kids and doing all these horrible things on this specific day of the dead. But I mean, there's kind of obviously no real way to know because all of these sources are kind of becoming a bit redundant. So I can't remember what site it was that I saw this on, but actually there was one that had explained that basically the reason why as well that Halloween is the like main day for like ghosts of the dead to come back to life is because so the next day after Halloween is actually All Saints Day. So they kind of, I can't remember the full theory, but like let's just summarize it as they were kind of trying to say that they needed a day of all badness to happen so that the day of all goodness could be more appreciated. So like all this like the demonic like death, the ghosts coming back, the like just the horrible like scary aspects of what Halloween was counteracted on November 1st by this All Saints Day, where it was a day to respect and appreciate all the different saints that had lived and died and are living. And like obviously when you're a saint, you're not necessarily evil at all. So it was like a whole, one site was explaining a whole contrast of you needed the bad to then be able to better appreciate the good, which was kind of interesting, but I guess also at the same time didn't really justify anything in particular. I guess I thought I'd just share it. I think a lot of the sites are basically just saying the main story of it all originated from the Celts and just their culture. And I mean, I don't know, I guess I kind of wanted to just share this in a video with you guys because it's interesting. I had never actually thought to look into what it meant, what Halloween itself meant, what like how it became about, why we as a family don't celebrate it, and what it kind of what it is that you are celebrating when you celebrate Halloween. And don't get me wrong, this isn't me saying people shouldn't ever celebrate Halloween, like it's the worst, it's different. That's not what this video is. It's kind of more just hoping to share some knowledge with you guys so that you can also think about what it is that you are choosing to celebrate, if that makes sense. I think in this day and age, a lot of holidays, public holidays, are very, what's the word? This is not the right word, but I mean like financially driven, in the sense that obviously Halloween happens, everyone wants to buy all the Halloween stuff. Christmas happens, everyone wants to buy Christmas stuff. Easter happens, everyone wants to buy Easter stuff. Like stuff like that. Everything is very like well marketed to that extent, and it's kind of just left people just not really taking the chance to actually know what it is that they're celebrating and the reason behind why this is a thing. And I feel like, especially in this past year, where there has been a lot of like misleading information from like everywhere. And on top of that, where there's just been a lot of time where people have chosen to sit down and have discussions about things that people don't usually talk about, whether that be because they're uncomfortable or whether that be because just people never really thought to talk about it. That isn't like, doesn't really matter. I just feel like there's a lot of things that people don't really talk about, and so I thought, hey, why not? I mean, it's Halloween, so why not acknowledge what it means to be Halloween and what it means to celebrate Halloween. But yeah, I hope this was informative. In regards to whether or not a Christian should or shouldn't celebrate Halloween, I think growing up I never really understood why my parents were like so against it. I was kind of just like, ah man, it's just another thing, like we're not gonna celebrate Halloween, everyone's going out doing trick-or-treating and I'm stuck at home, da-da-da-da-da, and just another thing that I'd just be grumpy about as a kid. But I guess kind of growing up, and even today mostly, I've just been able to do a bit of research into it, and I kind of get it now, where it's just more of a thing of there's no need to celebrate such a dark and like horrible to an extent day. And just like as well as that, like literally everywhere that you go you find that this day is celebrating a day of death, but then not even in terms of the nice aspect of celebrating death, if you know what I mean. I'm kind of short for words, but I hope you understand what I mean when I say that. More in the sense of celebrating death as in terms of its destruction and in terms of its terror and in terms of its horror and how bad and scary death can be. And I feel like that, for me as a Christian, is something that I wouldn't want my kids and my family, my future family, to celebrate. So I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do here is just give you guys a bit more information so you can come to your own conclusions yourself, whether you're Christian or not. I mean, it's up to you. It's your life and you can do as you like with it. But I mean, I guess it's always good to just have a bit more information about the things that we choose to do before we do them. Today's vlog has been a bit different, hasn't it, guys? Well, you've never seen such a serious Suubi. I don't really know why I decided to do it like this, but I guess hopefully someone's learned something. And you have to forgive me, I'm not necessarily the best at like speaking good words. See, this is what I mean. I really try my best to be as like professional and like contained and like listen to me because I'm trying to tell you something as possible. Whether or not that worked is beyond me, but there's a lot of things that I need to get done today. But actually I'm gonna end the vlog here. Thank you guys for watching this video. I want to say happy Halloween, but at the same time I'm like, that literally just contradicts everything I've just said. What I will tell you guys though is actually today marks a year since I went to Seoul, South Korea this time last year. I went on a flight by myself to South Korea for 10 days. I actually filmed it, so if you want to watch that video, click up there. The vlogs from it are actually terrible though, because I was so shy, like trying to film everything, and then people were watching me and I was like, so they're not that great, but they are quite fun and it's still a nice memory. So if you want to go and see me in Seoul in 2019, living it up as a 19-year-old on holiday by myself, then click up there and watch. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're nearly at 1,000, which is amazing. Thank you. And yeah, badee.
That's all, folks.